These are my new Ariats. Not bad at all. Very comfortable boots, last a long time, and they take a bit of breaking in. Unlike you guys in America, we don't need to take our shoes and boots off every time we hop on an aeroplane. In fact, I just went to Brisbane on an aeroplane and shot a wedding with my phone. So I went to this wedding of my newly found nephew. He wasn't lost, we just didn't know he existed. I was driving a tractor one day and I got a message on Facebook saying, hey, you could be my father or my uncle. And I went, oh no, what have I done? So it turns out I didn't do anything wrong at all. He's actually not my son, he's my nephew, my brother's son. And he tracked us down through DNA testing, and what a bloody awesome story. Anyway, he found us. He's 25, 26 years old. He never knew anything of his family, and now he does. So when he had a wedding announcement, I'm like, dude, I'm coming. I jumped on a plane, went up to Brisbane, flew in the night before, went to the wedding the next day, and flew out the following day. It was a pretty whirlwind sort of a trip. But as some of you know, I actually shoot weddings for a living. I photograph weddings for a living, and it's a great way to learn photography. That's all genres of photography in wedding photography. You've got product photography, food photography, portrait photography, documentary photography, and if you're anyone like me, low light and even astrophotography, and you kind of throw it in there, and that's kind of what I'm known for. But if you're into photography and you're trying to earn some dollars with photography, wedding photography is just a sensational way to do it. Start nice and cheap. Get people who can't afford to pay the high end for the really up there photographers. Let people know. Be upfront and honest about what your skill sets are. Get in there. You never know. Some people just don't even want a photographer, but if it's cheap enough, well, they're probably going to bring you on board and it gets you that experience. Alternatively, go and find someone like me to come along and help out at a wedding or two and just pick things up. You'll be amazed at what you can do. So I went up there. These guys had a professional photographer. I didn't want to go because I hate it when people come and want to talk to me about my photography gear and my styles and techniques when they're just there as guests. I'm like, enjoy the bloody wedding. But for me, I got up there, didn't want to follow the photographer around. He did a really good job. When it came a little bit darker, I said to my nephew, I said, mate, let's just duck out here. There's some cool fairy lights out here and I want to take a photo. And it was dark and I only had my phone. Now I took this photo. Now I shot this handheld using night mode, so I couldn't shoot any more than 10 seconds, but insane. And I think this photo was about 4 or 5 seconds long. With portraiture photography in low light, it's really difficult. So what I did there was I held myself up against a post, so I didn't move around at all, and I got a really good steady photo. That's really important. Remember, you can't polish a turd. You can put glitter on it and call it something else, but you can't fix a bad photo. So get something nice and steady to put up the phone up against, and it'll make it nice and steady to get that night mode photo from the iPhone. That applies to any phone, really. Let's have a look at the editing of this. Before we talk about the editing of this photo, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning platform for creative people. And if you're here learning about how to take photos at a wedding with a phone, you're a creative person. On this platform, there is everything for the creative mind. You've got painting, stitching. There's a really good course on there from Tyson Wheatley. He does mobile photography for Instagram. And even if you're not an Instagram person, the stuff that he goes through on that course, it's just sensational. I learned heaps by doing just that course. And still for mobile photographers, there's another one there from Dale McManus. Very, very good course for mobile photography. Talks about composition, the gear, editing, all that sort of stuff, all in one course. Sensational platform to learn this sort of stuff if you're a creative person. So if you are a creative person and you want to really up your mobile photography game, there's a link down the bottom. The first 1,000 people that click that link and go and join up over there on Skillshare will get 1 month free premium membership. You get access to every single thing for the first month for free, and you can binge and binge until your heart's content, and you can learn and learn until you can learn no more. Let's get back to the editing this photo. The photo that I took, it looked like this straight from the camera. There was a wall, black wall with lots of fairy lights coming down. It was dark. And I thought, well, I haven't seen the photographer take many photos. Actually, I didn't see him take any photos in front of this. And I thought it kind of looks good for nighttime sort of portraiture. So I grabbed Jesse and put both these guys in front of these fairy lights and took that photo using night mode, steadied myself, and got a good shot. Now I'm going to use two apps to edit this photo. First one is Lightroom, the second one is lens distortions. Here is the photo in Lightroom. There's a few things that I noticed with this photo immediately. One, it's bloody crooked, so we've got to straighten that up. So we'll head over to the crop tool, and we're going to spin that around just a little bit. I've got the base of that back board there to reference off, and that's it. Good right there. Hit the tick, and it's nice and straight now. I'm happy with that. Next, what I'm going to do is nighttime photos with the iPhone when there's a little bit of ambient light. There's a lot of haze that gets thrown into this. So I'm going to go over to the effects tab and increase the dehazing just a little bit, probably halfway, and I'm going to increase the clarity a little bit as well. Now you might think that looks a little bit harsh. I don't quite like what you've done there. But when I use lens distortions, it's going to bring that all back just a little bit. What else do we want to do here? We'll go over to light and we'll decrease the blacks a little bit. Just for the back wall. I'm looking at the back wall. That'll also help bring that haze down just a bit. And to be honest, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to export that and bring it into lens distortions. As that photo looks right there, it's not too bad. In fact, I think I even sent that to Jesse on the day or maybe the next day, and he actually used it a lot in his social media to show that he got married, that particular photo from my phone. But what I think is beneficial for phone photography, especially when you're doing portraiture stuff, maybe weddings, maybe that sort of thing, is to add some foreground elements. But when it's dark, it's really difficult to do that. The LiDAR on the iPhone just tends to screw everything up and it doesn't work that well. So with that in mind, I'll use lens distortions to bring in some other elements into that photo, just so it doesn't look quite as flat. Here's the photo in lens distortions. If you haven't used this before, this isn't a free app. It used to cost you a one-off purchase. Now it's like 30 bucks Australian per year. Now, when you go into here, you've got some color overlays that you can use. Not a huge fan of that. That's not what I want in here. The next tab across is to put text in there. Again, that's not why we're here. Next one is for the light hits, and the light hits is what I really want to do here. We might have a look at a few here. That's not too bad. It's a bit too harsh. Particulate, no. Soft light, maybe. We'll try that and see how it looks. Now, once you put this overlay in, you can squeeze and open up with your fingers in that gesture, and you can move it around, and you can actually put that light hit in behind them if you wanted to. Just move it around the screen. I actually don't want that there. I do want something off in the top corner, but it's not that. That's not what I want. Let's try the principal light hits. No. Anamorphic, no. Classic light hits. That's what I want. The big orange one is what I'm after. And I bring that down, shrink it right down, just put it up in the corner there, but you can see some lens flares off the side. I do want them in the image. So right there is about where I want. Is it too orange? It does look a little bit warm. I'm going to go to the next one across. I'm going to try that one. That, I think, is more in touch with what I'm going to do next. And it'll make sense why I change the color of that or use a different filter when I get to the next bit. I'm going to bring that in, and what that's going to do is it suggests that there's a bright light up above these guys. So I'll leave that right there. Now I want to add another element to this photo. Hit the plus down the bottom. I'm going to go across to nature, and I'm going to bring some fog in. Use this one here. It's all covered up, looks amazing. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it right down here to the bottom of the image. Yeah, I like that. Just covering up the pavers there, just that little bit. I'm going to hit the tick on that, and I'm going to export the photo, and this is what it looks like. So there you have it. A photo taken low light at a wedding with a phone, two apps to edit, and that's where it really brings everything out. There's definitely other filters in there that you could try with this particular photo to get some really good results, but hey, straight off the bat, I think that was pretty bloody good. I like to do this sort of thing as a wedding photographer because I like to give people a couple of photos, one or two, straight off the bat whilst we're at the wedding still, so that they can share them, the couple can share them on their social media and stuff immediately to let people who aren't at the wedding know that, hey, I just got hitched. That's it for today, guys. I'll catch you later.